back pages. Most headlines and back pages focusing on the derby yesterday, but sadly not from the footballing side of things. It's shameful. Back of the Mail, Chris Wheeler writes, Pep Guardiola told Man United fans they should be ashamed for targeting Phil Foden with abusive chants about his mother during yesterday's derby. He was rounded on in the 0-0 draw. City understood to be disgusted by just how many fans were involved. And again, it's kind of a similar kind of back page across all the papers. Shame on you. Back of the Express, Guardiola slams United supporters for a lack of class. Again, back of the Mirror, shameful. Pep takes swipe at United fans over vile chants aimed at Foden's mum. And one more for you, Telegraph Sport. Foden abuse angers Pep. Before I get your thoughts on it, let's hear from Pep Guardiola.
What the chance to him? Lack of class. But it's not United, it's the people, you know. The people is... We are so exposed. The people who's now in the screen, in the world football, managers, owners, and football players especially, is honestly, I don't know, understanding the mind of the people, be involved, the man from Phil, be involved in that. So it's lack of category, class, and they should be ashamed. But it's what it is. So it's happening everywhere, I would say, not just in UK, in everywhere.
Troy, what's it like to be a football player? Be out on the pitch, doing your job, working, and all sorts comes your way. What's it like to be that person?
Part of the game, unfortunately. It is what it is. You've heard people say things about my kids, about wife, you name it. It is what it is. Look, I take Pep's point because it is a reflection on society, right? Everyone's relatively glass houses. They like to look out and point and go, you're rubbish, you didn't do this or this and that. But I also think as well, it's a derby. People are emotional. There's not... you talk about someone's mom, so you never want it to be that, because obviously we've all got mothers and fathers and we love our parents, but it's just part of football. I think this is, in my opinion, a bigger story than it needs to be, if you get what I mean.
So you think we should just accept that these things happen inside football stadiums and nothing can be done to stop it?
But it's been going on since the end of time.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Yeah, I think it's been made a bigger story because Pep's brought it to everyone's attention. Watching the game, I didn't hear it. Match of the day, we didn't do anything on it. It's just, you know, unfortunately, it's an ugly side of this football game. But there was an old saying many years ago that Gianfranco Zola told me, and it was, you were paid to have no feelings.
Right.
The amount of money that we get paid, you're not allowed to be sensitive.
Yeah.
So you know you're not going to.
So when you said there you had abuse about your kids and your partner, when that happens and you're playing and you hear it, does it affect you, or because it's so normal, do you want to just get on with the game and don't think about it? It
depends on the individual. Me personally, I'm like, right, you're going to get it. Watch for the score. That's just who I am. I've been fortunate. I grew up in pubs, mate. So some of the things I heard at 12 and 13 were not suitable for teenagers. So for me, I just think, unfortunately, it's part of the game, and it's a bigger story than it is. If you go to the lower leagues, Jeff, we hear all sorts, don't we?
Yeah, you hear it everywhere. Look, I mean, the first thing about it is it just goes to show there was nothing else to talk about in that game. It was such an awful game, and that's why this is so prominent. If there'd been a wonder goal that had won the match, you know, then we'd be talking about that. Pep is right. It is a lack of class, but it's the tribalism that exists right throughout football, where anything goes and you can say anything about the opposition and it's wrong, but it's always happened. Tell me how you stop it. I have no idea.
Yeah, if you've got thousands of people all chanting the same thing, it's hard to get them all out of the stadium and not let them ever back in again. Yeah. Just one more story to bring you, a transfer story in the back of the Sun that I think Arsenal fans will like the sound of. Vic and Nick will do the trick, an exclusive by Dan King, who says Arsenal working on a dream scenario of signing Victor Gyökeres and Nico Williams in a blockbuster £200 million summer spree. The Gunners' number one priority, though, is bringing in a top-level central midfielder, confident landing Martin Zubimendi, but also the new sporting director, Andrea Berta, is doing the sums to see if they can also afford that elite centre forward and also a game-changing winger, which would be Williams and Gyökeres. That sounds pretty good for Arsenal fans, doesn't it, Troy?
It did, but there's a key bit you said there. Their main target is another centre midfielder.
Yeah. You used the word dream as well.
Yeah, the obvious thing that everyone can see is they need a centre forward. So to me, it's a big headline. if they could get both, I would be very shocked if they could get both because it'd be very expensive. But the key part there is they want a classy centre midfielder. It's what they've done. They don't. Arteta and Arsenal don't like to spend money on forward players. It seems to me that if they don't get a striker, it's ignorance now. And every Arsenal fan, every pundit that criticise them for not scoring and winning the games, they'll only have Martin Keown to defend them. That's it. Everybody else
going up against Simon Jordan, right?
Yeah, but you know as well, like we've been seeing this for 2 years now, nearly 3 years.
Yeah.
So if they say their target is a Zubamendi, the midfielder from Sociedad, you see that he's another one of the Arsenal players, just gets it, gives it, gets it, gives it.
There's only one priority. There should only be one priority at Arsenal in the summer. You know, never mind coming up with dream packages. Just go and get a striker, a proper striker.
And even if they get Nico Williams, he's someone who plays off the left. So it's not a striker again. It's just do you get what I mean? It's the same problem, but I don't know what they say about insanity.
Just back on the Manchester City stuff, M6 Matt says, morning guys, Pep talking about the chanting saved him, talking about how poor his team have been, and I get that deflection, but he was asked about it in the press conference, in fairness to him, so he has to answer that question. I thought he did so very eloquently as well.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely terrible chance, but goodness me, can you remember Manchester Derby being that bad, Jeff?
No.
I mean, it was awful, wasn't it?
I had to leave after about 70 minutes to go and get my train up to London, and I was so relieved to be able to walk away. It was terrible.
Do you think it had that feel of a pre-season friendly? Not just in terms of the quality, but in terms of the intensity of it.
I thought the big talking point was great from Bruno Fernandes, where he said, because of VAR now, you can't go and rattle somebody and make an atmosphere, because that fear of if you're a second late, you're going to get sent off. So I thought that was a really interesting point, that even the players now want to go and get into people, want to go and rattle, but they go, we're going to get sent off, so there's no point. So we're getting very close to sleepwalking to flag football.
Let's not start on VAR again. we might just later in the show touch on Miles Lewis Skelly and Jack Harrison. We might just touch on 6-minute delays. I mean, seriously, for goodness sake, when will the authorities come to realise that this is not acceptable in the game? The VAR in its current form does not work. Sam, thank you very much indeed.
Appreciate it, Jeff.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.